This is a tactical issue.
Yeah,
right?
but I think it raises a cottage industry of people who are talking about the existence of something that, frankly, okay, so we obviously disagree that systemic racism exists. But the reason why I don't put my political focus on it isn't because I think it's not worthwhile. If there were a policy, a program, something someone could show me that showed that they could get rid of systemic racism, that there was a class that some doctor could take that would make him, treat Serena Williams' pain in the same way that he would treat a white patient's pain, I would say, great, let's do that. What's the problem? No, great. But that's not the way the world works. And many of these kinds of programs have shown to be very ineffective and a waste of money. And what we do know is all of the things that do work. Okay, to your point about the way social policies are constructed in a way that disincentivizes people from getting married.
I could not agree more.
We could address that. If you want to talk about housing policy, there's also ways in which certain kinds of public housing generate more of an interest in people settling down as opposed to high-rise apartments where people don't have their own.
Used to exist, sure.
Exactly, their own little plots to garden in or front yard, a sense of ownership and community. I would love to be having those conversations.
So, but I guess, just more of a curious, why is the American left not having that conversation?
Well, so we are having a semantic conversation now.
I'm asking, that is true though,
but
right?
I call them I want to just distinguish between leftists and liberals.
I make that distinction all the time. So
I think the American left is very much having that conversation. I think that liberals, we would agree in our critique that they're having a very superficial conversation that is bogged down in a lot of this cultural racism talk.
Let me give you an example. Again, I won't agree on the systemic racism thing, but if you're like, regardless of how we analyze things, we should make it easier, not harder, through our government programs to stay married to a single person. Like, why is that not something that, at least in the information I consume, I don't see as there was a huge emphasis on the systemic racism narrative. Would you agree in the last couple of years? Like,
for sure.
Robin DiAngelo, Kendi. I'm not saying you agree with that stuff. Like, why is that? Like, why is that? Is it just like white liberals?
So something they're talking about with reconstructing the social welfare could have a massive cultural change in the urban community. And I think it needs to be fleshed out more about what exactly that looks like. I don't think you can or should completely cut the social welfare programs. But for example, years ago, I was working in an organization and I was making $18,000 a year. And because I was making so little, I was able to get free healthcare. The moment I made $28,000 as a single man, they cut off that I had to pay for my own healthcare. So already, I actually was doing better making $18,000 than I was making $28,000 at that time. So that's just an example of how it cuts from you even wanting to promote yourself to get better, because unless your income increases exponentially, then you're actually doing yourself a disservice with these social welfare programs.
Yeah, it's white liberals.
I'm just curious. Can you